I gotta, before even the intro, I gotta post his reaction while we watch that, because he had some great commentary that I hope he remembers everything about it. But I am Brian.
I'm Richard.
And this is I Love You 3,000 Minutes. We're on minute 18. We traveled back. We're the podcast that traveled back in time to rewatch the entire Infinity Saga and maybe beyond, starting with Iron Man 1 through Spider-Man Far From Home. We're on the minute 18 of Iron Man 1. And Richard, what happened? I got some cool details I want to add in, but you had just a great commentary track.
The saw scenes continue, even though pulling the breathing apparatus out of his breathing system, that's a normal medical thing, but no one wants that. How long has it been
since you've watched this movie?
It's 10 to 12 years.
Because I loved when he asked, literally, it could be 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
When he ripped it open.
Yeah.
You gotta go to Instagram for that reaction, but...
Continues being pretty saw-like, and he has just a metal apparatus in the middle worn by some random stranger, also pretty saw-like. Just like, hey man, I wouldn't do that if I were you, and he's hooked up to a car battery. Who wants to be hooked up to a car battery? No one. He reaches over to the stand next to him. It's not a luxurious, nice, posh stand. He's having problems moving his arms because he's all messed up. He reaches over. I said, yep, that's not Johnny Walker Blue Label there, is it?
Yeah. And the man shaving is not being the best doctor, because he's waiting till he figures out something's wrong. To
right.
Be like, don't. You know, when somebody wakes up and you know they're awake, you'd be like, hey, don't move.
Yeah, but I'd also...
But he's like, let's have him turn and yank on the thing, keeping him alive, and then say,
But I might not have all my wits or, pleasantries, or I might not be in the best mood if I was kidnapped by these ISIS-like terrorists either. So...
Oh my god, ISIS didn't even exist back then.
Right, it was Al-Qaeda.
Sounds like a dish on a barbecue menu. I'll take a slab of Al-Qaeda.
I don't want to eat no terrorists.
That's a double negative. That means you do. So, the BTS that I have to shout out, there's no confirmation, but I love the angles, because this is such clever filmmaking. They could have done something where they CGI'd the string in that overhead shot, but instead they went for the profile shot, and what they had to have done is just put the tape on him and have a tube sideways that's just hanging on the side, so when he pulls it out, it all pulls out like it's actually coming out of him, but it's just simple filmmaking technique, choosing the right angle.
Very practical.
And probably adding the little squishy noises to make...
Practical effects, very nice.
Yeah, and then right before he rips it out, it goes back to that overhead shot with the prop where they probably just put a little bit of two up his nose and said, all right, rip. But yeah,
it's really something to see him go from the most posh, the most lavish. I'm never pouring my own drinks. To that's like they say fish out of water is a good filmmaking intro. This is like probably the best possible example.
Besides like Harry Potter.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, even after his eyes have watered up from having something
in his sinuses.
Dragged through his sinuses. His left hand hurts, too. Like, he's in pain. He got launched in the air by an explosion and hit hard ground. Of course he's going to be hurting, but he goes for, like, water or something, drops it all. We get the guy shaving.
It's just a mirror held up by wire, I guess.
What is holding it up? It looks like it might be screwed into the wall. I see some metal.
Sure.
But it's a dirty, dirty mirror. And not in the good way.
It's like, I'm shaving for them.
I
need to look good for...
He literally has the thinnest amount of shaving cream on his face. Like, that's not all lathered up like I would do. But, yeah, he might be copying Tony's beard.
Mm-hmm.
But man, for someone who just woke up with a pained hand, he is ripping through those. I know how hard it is to rip one of those bandages, but he just rips it in the most cinematic way. And you literally said it's a magnetized piece of metal and
Yeah.
below his sternum.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Which, the next minute is basically what he's going to be told in exposition.
Right. So how I interpreted it, maybe his hand could have been working, but it's just his torso was so screwed up, and he's trying to take it at a weird angle. His arm's just like, no, it's not working very well.
Also, the first thing he did was like do this with his hand, like flex it, like it was hurting. But then the last shot we have is a fire being stoked by somebody, clearly not Tony, because they're using their hands to their fullest beautiful capabilities. Yeah, anything else you want to add? Like, there's not much we can see of the background in these shots.
He goes from, like, what's that show? Entourage? Is that a show where they're all living extremely well? Entourage?
Yeah. I was actually watching an Entourage movie last night.
He goes from living Entourage plus lifestyle to being in a Saw movie. So
Nice. Yeah, we get natural lighting, like just a light on its side hanging in the corner. And yeah, he pulls on those cords on the battery a little too hard. The guy who will know as Jensen really needs to calm him down. Be like, stop touching shit. But anything else for minute 18, Richard?
I mean, his face looks like it's a Saw movie too. So
It's the last shot before they cut to the fire with his eyes all watery.
Yeah. No, I want to see more of the Saw movie.
Cool beans.
I'm Richard.
I'm Brian.
You've got an army.
We've got a podcast.